absolutely confirmed. Tottenham have opened talks with Mauricio Pochettino. The former boss is open to coming back once Frank is gone. Welcome back to Tottenham News Today channel. Tottenham's situation has reached breaking point, and the pressure on Thomas Frank is now relentless. According to talkSPORT, once Frank's dismissal is officially confirmed, the club will immediately move towards identifying a successor, and one name is already standing out above the rest: Mauricio Pochettino. Frank's tenure has unravelled at alarming speed. Spurs look disjointed, predictable, and devoid of confidence, with little evidence of a clear tactical identity. The patience of the fan base has evaporated, and even within the hierarchy there is a growing acceptance that change is no longer optional, but inevitable. What was sold as a fresh start has instead drifted into stagnation, leaving Tottenham stuck in a cycle of underachievement. talkSPORT report that senior figures at the club are actively discussing alternatives, with Pochettino emerging as one of the leading candidates to take charge once Frank exits. Years after his departure, Pochettino is again being viewed as a figure capable of restoring credibility, structure, and belief at Spurs. While some supporters remain conflicted about a reunion, there is no escaping the facts. Pochettino delivered Tottenham's most stable and competitive period of the modern era. He built a team that pressed aggressively, played with intensity, and genuinely believed it belonged among Europe's elite. That identity has long since vanished, and Spurs are now desperate to find it again. Sources indicate Pochettino would be open to a return, although any immediate appointment would be complicated by his commitment to the United States national team ahead of the 2026 World Cup. The likely scenario, should Frank be removed imminently, would involve an interim coach steadying the ship before a longer-term decision is executed. Even so, the idea of Pochettino reclaiming the dugout after the tournament is being taken seriously. The club is no longer gambling on unproven projects or vague philosophies. Instead, they are looking backwards to move forwards, towards a manager who understands the club's culture, the demands of the Premier League, and the expectations of a restless fan base. Frank's downfall feels inevitable now. The performances, the results, and the atmosphere have aligned against him. With talkSPORT confirming that Pochettino is firmly in the conversation, the message is clear. Tottenham are preparing for life after Frank, and they want a proven leader to guide them out of the chaos. The question is no longer if change is coming, but how quickly the club pulls the trigger. Spurs are once again being linked to Brahim Diaz. According to Team Talk, Spurs are actively working on a plan to lure the Real Madrid winger to North London before the window shuts, viewing him as a player capable of instantly lifting a blunt and predictable attack. Diaz arrives on the radar fresh from the Africa Cup of Nations, where he finished as the tournament's top scorer with 5 goals. While the final ended in heartbreak after he missed a decisive late penalty, his overall impact only enhanced his reputation. Tottenham's recruitment team reportedly see that tournament as further proof of his mentality, resilience, and ability to shoulder responsibility, traits Spurs have been sorely lacking. Sources claim Tottenham are already laying the groundwork behind the scenes. While there is no indication that full-scale negotiations with Real Madrid are underway, the intent is clear. Spurs want to convince Diaz that his future lies in the Premier League. Despite the uncertainty surrounding Thomas Frank's position, recruitment plans are said to be moving independently, with attacking reinforcements viewed as urgent rather than optional. The appeal is obvious. Brahim Diaz is entering his prime but remains on the fringes at the Bernabeu. He has started just 3 league matches this season, often used as a rotational option rather than a central figure. Tottenham believe that limited role could work in their favour, positioning themselves as a club prepared to offer regular minutes, freedom in the final third, and a leading role in a major European league. Diaz has long been a familiar name in Premier League gossip circles, frequently linked with English clubs without a move ever materialising. This time, however, Spurs feel the conditions may finally align. Real Madrid's squad depth, Diaz's lack of consistent starts, and Tottenham's desperation for creativity on the flanks have combined to create what insiders describe as a genuine opportunity. That said, caution remains. Team Talk note that the story has yet to be strongly backed by multiple elite sources, and Tottenham's interest is still at the exploratory stage. No concrete bid has been lodged, and Madrid's stance is unclear. Yet within Spurs circles, Diaz is firmly on the agenda, a player seen as capable of injecting flair, unpredictability, and goals into a side that has looked painfully short of all three. Whether this develops into a serious pursuit or fades into another winter rumour remains to be seen. But one thing is undeniable. Tottenham are scanning the market for bold solutions, and Brahim Diaz fits the profile of a signing that could change the mood at a club crying out for inspiration. Tottenham have genuine interest in Liverpool's Curtis Jones. According to journalist Paul Joyce, Spurs are closely monitoring the Liverpool midfielder, with growing belief in North London that the England international could be tempted by a move offering him a clearer, more central role. Jones has developed into a key figure at Anfield, capable of influencing games at both ends of the pitch. However, despite his quality, Liverpool's relentless spending and constant competition for places mean minutes are never guaranteed. That reality has not gone unnoticed by Tottenham, who sense an opening if Jones begins to question his long-term status on Merseyside. Inside Spurs, there is an acceptance that the midfield still lacks balance, control, and consistency. Injuries have exposed the squad badly, and even with the arrival of Conor Gallagher, recruitment staff are understood to believe another top-level midfielder could be decisive in stabilising a season that has drifted alarmingly off course. Tottenham sitting in the bottom half of the table is simply not sustainable for a club of their size, and drastic action is now unavoidable. The January window is being viewed as absolutely pivotal. Spurs know they cannot afford another passive market, especially with European qualification already under threat. Missing out on Europe would not only damage the club's finances, but also weaken Tottenham's pull in future windows. That pressure is driving serious discussions behind the scenes about players who can immediately raise standards, and Jones fits that profile perfectly. From Tottenham's perspective, the appeal is obvious. Jones is Premier League proven, tactically intelligent, press-resistant, and entering his prime years. He would not arrive as a gamble, but as a player capable of walking straight into the starting 11 and becoming a pillar of the rebuild. For Jones, the attraction would be just as clear. Regular starts, responsibility, and the chance to be a focal point rather than part of a constant rotation. While Thomas Frank continues to shoulder criticism for the club's struggles, there is also growing recognition that the squad itself needs reinforcement urgently. A managerial change alone will not fix structural issues in midfield, and Spurs hierarchy are increasingly aware that backing the project with quality signings is non-negotiable. Nothing is advanced yet, and Liverpool are not actively pushing Jones towards the exit. But the fact Tottenham are tracking his situation closely speaks volumes. This is not casual interest. It is calculated, strategic, and rooted in necessity. If Jones signals that he wants more guarantees than Liverpool can offer, Spurs will be ready to act. For a club staring at a crossroads, Curtis Jones represents more than just a transfer target. He symbolises control, progression, and a potential reset. And in a window where Tottenham simply cannot afford mistakes, that makes this a story that refuses to go away. That wraps up today's update. If you like this video and want to keep up with all the latest Tottenham news, be sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss any updates. Remember to leave a like and share this video with fellow Spurs supporters. Together we can continue growing the Tottenham News Today community. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, come on you Spurs!